Okay, everybody. Last week we covered just some basic brain health in this class, and I promise you that we're going to take it a little deeper today. We're going to talk about concussion, and then next week we're going to dive into stroke and talk about some rehab for both of these issues. Now, I realize this isn't going to apply for everybody. This really isn't part of our weight loss program, but this is vitally important and it's great information to have. So, with that said, if you don't know me yet, my name's Dr. Brady Wyrick. I am a chiropractor, but I've been extensively trained in functional neurology and functional nutrition. I've been in practice now for about 18 years. I'm an author, I'm a speaker. I like to have a good time. I live in the east side of Idaho, just north of Salt Lake City, called Idaho Falls. And this is where my wife and I choose to live and have a good time. So it's funny because, well, it's not funny. My wife is a speech pathologist, as you'll read in the blog post, and we have these conversations often about how poorly post-treatment goes for things like stroke and traumatic brain injury. Now, our system is the best in the world when it comes to the acute care for these people. They're very, very good at saving lives, but it's the part after their life is saved that I think we fall short of, and that's why we're going to talk about this today. So we're going to give you some good strategies here about recovering from this and doing it quicker. I hope this is information that you don't need, frankly. I hope you never need this information, because that means you've hit your head, you've had some sort of traumatic injury, and you're looking for help. So if that's the case, I got you. If not, just keep this in your back pocket, but share it, like it, and keep following me, because we're going to keep giving you more information like this. But if someone you know, someone that you love comes in need of this information, then you know where to go. So let's talk a little bit about traumatic brain injury. Most common one are youth in football, or youth in contact sports like football. You see them in automobile accidents. You see them in bicycle accidents. I've seen them parasailing. I've seen them. I've seen them from being drunk on a hoverboard. They can come from any source of injury. You don't have to have a concussion to have a traumatic brain injury. A concussion is a part of a traumatic brain injury. You can get a traumatic brain injury just from your head, or your brain just sloshed around on the inside of your head. Or you can be like me and get a concussion when you get up on an airplane and hit your head on the exit sign as you're walking down the aisle in the airplane. Yeah, that happened to me a couple months ago. So your symptoms are headaches that get worse. Don't go, oh, excuse me. These are the reasons why, or these are the things to look out for that would indicate that you need medical attention. A headache that gets worse, doesn't go away. Weakness, numbness, decreased coordination, repeated vomiting or nausea. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Slurred speech, looks very drowsy, can't wake up. One pupil larger than the other. Concussions, seizures, difficulty recognizing people, convulsions or seizures. Sorry, that's what that says. Increasing confusion, restlessness, unusual behavior change, loss of consciousness. If you get knocked out, you do need to get medical attention. Because if you have these particular symptoms, it could be a sign of something much more serious, like a brain bruise or a fracture in your skull. So the things that we talk about today are basically the things that happen after you've been medically cleared. Because what will happen is you'll go to the emergency room, they'll make sure there's no swelling, make sure there's no internal bleeding, they'll make sure that there's nothing there that is threatening your life, and then they will send you home with instructions such as staying in a dark room, avoiding your phone, avoiding large noises, etc., which are all very, very good instructions. So I think that's the base of this. The premise of this video is these are things you do after that's all been cleared. So with that said, let's talk about some of the signs and symptoms, and then we'll dive into it. Headache or feeling pressure in your head. And I bring these up because a lot of people will come home and think, do I have a concussion? And they'll reach out to me and say, do I have a concussion? We'll talk. Nausea or vomiting. Here's what's really interesting. There's been studies that have been done that show when you get a concussion, there are chemicals that are released in your gut that actually cause leaky gut syndrome. They cause the little junctions inside of your gut wall to break down so that whole chunks of protein can get through your and create what's called intestinal permeability. That's where the nausea part of this comes from. So over the years, I've heard a lot of statements like, I started gaining weight after my concussion. My thyroid issues started after my concussion. After my concussion, my health went to pot. That's the reason for it, is because these chemicals get released in your gut, and your gut starts to break down. You develop leaky gut syndrome. Balance problems or dizziness. This is a very, very common. In fact, I got 3 active people on my caseload right now that's their main symptom from concussion, because it messes up their vestibular system. Fatigue or drowsiness, blurred vision or seeing stars, getting your bell rung. Sensitivity to light and noise. You snap your fingers by their ear and they flinch, or they can't handle the light. Numbness or tingling in the body, ringing in the ears, etc. There are some cognitive or emotional symptoms. You can get brain fog. You can have amnesia, not remembering about the event itself. Difficulty concentrating, difficulty remembering new information, sluggish, hazy, feeling groggy. I promise I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. Sleeping more than less than usual. Personality changes, depression, anxiety are often commonly related to traumatic brain injury. So, signs and symptoms in children, because they're going to present a little bit differently. They're going to appear dazed, listless, and tiring easily, irritability and crankiness, change in eating or sleeping patterns, lack of interest in their favorite toys, loss of balance, unsteady walking, and crying more than usual. So watch out for that in the little ones especially. So let's get to the nuts and bolts of this. Glutamate. To understand concussion and how to overcome concussion, you have to understand glutamate. Glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. It is held in reserve in these cells called glial cells inside of your brain, which is a protective mechanism. So when you get an injury, these glial cells will start releasing glutamate. And in the beginning, it's a good thing because it decreases inflammation and starts the healing process. The problem is our bodies don't know how to shut it off. So if that glutamate process continues, you're going to have neuronal damage that can become permanent, because these little guys just take too long to shut off. So when it comes to shutting them off, there's not a pill on the planet you can take to do that. You have to do it yourself, and you can do that through diet. Okay? Get rid of the dietary sources of glutamate. So you want to get rid of glutamate, as in MSG, monosodium glutamate, or aspartame, the artificial sweetener in diet sodas. So you want to avoid, after your concussion, avoid fast food like it's the plague. In fact, what I'll do is I do have a meal plan for concussive syndrome that I'll send out to you later if you're on my email list. Diet sodas, you want to get away from those. Sugar and sugar-free energy drinks, so you want to get away from both diet and regular sodas. You do not want to take energy drinks during this time. You don't want to drink those things ever, but you do want to stay away from them because the caffeine will restrict blood flow. Plus the artificial sweeteners, which is going to make this process work. And then you want to get away from trans fat and omega-6 fats. So trans fat and omega-6 fats are basically the fake fats that have been pushed on us since the early 90s when fat was demonized. So margarine is the big one that I can think of, Pam, Crisco, etc. So we're just going to stay away from those. But I will provide that meal plan for you. So nutritional support to think about. So not only do you want to avoid those particular foods, there are some supplements that you want to take that include omega-3 fatty acids. Do not go buy this stuff from the grocery store. It is watered down. It is rancid. It is not effective. Magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids is going to act as an anti-inflammatory. It's going to help you build new nerves. Magnesium is going to calm the whole process down. Zinc's going to help build new connections in your brain. And then antioxidants are going to help with the free radical formation that happens when you hit your head. Okay, so I do have in the description, I have a protocol that I use on FullScript that you can actually have access to that whole thing. It's there. So if you hit that link in the description, it'll take you right to there, and you can see which ones I use. Stimulating the nervous system. Hey, chiropractic adjustments can actually help with overcoming these symptoms. You just got to make sure you get with someone who knows what they're doing. Hey, if you're not local and you want help, reach out to me. I'll help find you someone. Low-level laser therapy has been highly, highly effective in stopping this process. You guys have seen my videos about this. It is I would not want to practice without this particular tool. However, I do not work for Erconia. I don't make any money from them whatsoever. I pay full price for their equipment, and I will say this: I would not go to anyone that doesn't have an Erconia laser. I would not let anyone. I would not use any other brand of laser on my head except for Erconia. So again, if you want help finding a practitioner, let me know. They do have resources where you can find people in your area. And the importance of physical activity and exercise, you've got to get moving as soon as you can, but we can't push it. So if we can get walking as symptoms start to get relief, and then as you start to feel better, just increase your physical activity, because movement is actually what grows new nerves. You also want to be careful about hydration and electrolyte balance. Hey, you want to make sure you stay hydrated. Drink tons of water. Do get some salt. I would avoid sports drinks because of the fake sugars and because of the food dyes that they put in there. You can use things like Element that will give you salt, magnesium, etc. Redmond's Red Light is another good brand of electrolyte. I would not use Liquid IV. You've heard me talk about that in other posts and the reasons why. Make sure you're getting adequate rest and adequate sleep, and you're still going to avoid excitotoxins like the glutamate, MSG that we talked about, and avoid artificial sweeteners. So here are your guidelines to getting back to activity. Gradual reintroduction is the key. Hey, slowly, like over weeks of time. So when I'm working with people that have had a TBI, it might just be walking around the block. Hey, and as you start to tolerate though, we'll add some more. Everyone has a different timeline on this. Everyone's going to heal at a different rate depending on their metabolic condition when it happens, versus if you get someone who takes care of themselves versus someone who doesn't. The person who doesn't is going to take longer. You want to monitor symptoms. You want to monitor progress. In other words, if it hurts, stop doing it. And the greatest thing of all in this, though, is mom's intuition. Hey, mom's intuition is greater than any professional degree out there. Moms, listen to your gut about your kids. If your gut says they don't need to be doing that, then they don't need to be doing that, regardless of what people like me say. So listen to your gut. Listen to your mom's intuition. So, quick review. Number one, we've got to stop that glutamate cascade. We do that with avoiding it in our diets. Number two, nutritional support through the supplements that we talked about. Number three, we do want to stimulate the nervous system appropriately and then get back to activity with monitoring. Guys, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with me on this video. It's been fun to make. If I can help you in any way, please feel free. Comment on the video. Send me an email. You can call or text that number. We'd be happy to see how we can help you. Even if you don't live here in our area, perhaps we can point you in the right direction. So thanks for spending this few minutes with me. I'll see you all in the next video, and you all know that I love you. So thanks.